What's going on? You're in the Beat Sessions. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. I know I'm late to the party on this one, but better late than never. Let's talk about this new album from Black Country New Road. It's entitled Dance From Up There, and they released that on February 4th. It's the band's sophomore album, and it follows their debut from last year for the first time. And I got to take a moment to acknowledge that even after last month's top 10, I'm a little embarrassed that I overlooked this debut record from last year. Definitely a miss for the channel, but thankfully I'm not here to attain perfection. I'm just here to talk about music, and I really like both of these records. I will say that I didn't listen to the debut until after listening to Ants From Up There, and I had to just take some time before doing this album review after reading about the band and what they're going through, some very unique circumstances, and two very unique records that I just really felt deserved a lot more thought than I had the time to give them at the release of this record. So thankfully, it's been a couple weeks since this album has come out. We're still in the same month, so I don't feel too bad about that. And having had a chance to listen to both of these records, it's been such a pleasure. They're it's definitely the same band, but definitely two different experiences. And I think I like the first record a little more, just based on my personal preferences. Just a brilliant combination of post-punk and contemporary jazz. And there's so many different players in this band. Just a marvelous saxophone element, key element, and a string element at play here as well. Reminds me of Dave Matthews Band a lot in that regard. I know some people might look at that analogy and say that it's terrible, but what I like about Dave is, a lot of the same components there, and you just, within any song, don't know what's going to come at you at any moment. And so that's definitely one of the brilliant elements of this band, a wonderful dynamic with lots of lush instrumentation, great layers and great textures. And this new record, there's a lot of people talking about Arcade Fire and the comparisons there. I want to talk about the suburbs. It's that Baroque pop, that neo-Baroque pop style on that particular record that really is at play on Ants From Up There. And I like it. It's not overwhelming, and I don't think this is any type of like Arcade Fire ripoff, but you can feel the drive there, and you can feel it in some of the instrumentation. Certainly on Chaos Space, I would say that's the album's intro track minus the intro. But there's moments where you get just some of this kind of classic pop sound, a little of that Baroque element, and it's just marvelous. I really wish it's the direction that Arcade Fire kind of would have stuck with. So in listening to this record, I definitely had feelings of that. And certainly lots of other fun instrumentation at play here. And you get to the back end of this record, and there's a little bit more of that post-punk element at play here. And I got a lot of Velvet Underground, honestly. There's a couple tracks where there's this, just this simplicity, and it carries into this groove that lasts maybe about 6 or 7 minutes in the song. And again, it reminded me a lot of what Lou Reed and that band was doing in the mid to late 60s and into 1970 with their last record. But I'm absolutely in love with this band. It really is unfortunate to hear about Isaac Wood. He left the band just before the release of this record, struggling with mental health issues. And obviously, that comes first and foremost. And so we at the channel, we wish you well, Isaac, no matter what happens in your life. If you're able to come back to the band, great. If not, I hope you find contentment. I hope you find happiness. I hope you find a way to, just cope with the things that you are struggling with. And, it's really cool that the band has chosen to leave the door open for him if he wants to return. And out of respect to him, they're not going to perform any of these songs until he returns, if he returns at all. And so there definitely is this tragic element as far as the music. It's unfortunate that I know me personally, I've not had a chance to see this band. So knowing that I don't know if I'll be able to see the songs is kind of disappointing. But again, you consider Isaac's situation, and obviously that's the most important thing. This band has talked about moving forward. That certainly isn't a question at all. It certainly is a question of how they're going to move forward. And they've talked about different strategies, playing around with doing a soundtrack for a movie or, any number of different things that lots of bands are actually playing around with these days. So these guys are all fairly young and very talented. And I think that, whatever happens next for them, it's going to be marvelous. It'll be magnificent because these guys as a group of players just are incredible. The dynamic between them is truly marvelous. And on both of these records, it plays out a little different as far as the overall experience, but the energy is just beautiful. And I'm absolutely loving this record. So thanks for tuning in to this album review. The album kicks off with Intro. It's a high energy jam that lasts about a minute. And it's definitely an indication of I think more of the energy on the first half of the record. Chaos Space Marine is your second track, kind of your opener, and I love the big intro, and it's got this soaring chorus, mellow verses, but the code is excellent. It's just this it chills out and just kind of jams into the finish, and really just you're definitely feeling this unique feel on this record versus their debut for the first time as far as that post-punk feel. You're getting more of that just, that Baroque element certainly on this track. But again, Dave Matthews, I got to bring him up. There's just such a dynamic to their music as far as the way that they can rock out, but certainly there's a pop influence, jazz, funk, all these other different things at play that these guys are working with on this record. Concord is your third song. I love the gentle intro, and then this track it slowly builds. It's just really beautiful and well done. Bread Song is your fourth track. The first half is really chill, and honestly, it reminded me of old Coldplay, Parachutes, back in the day when they were good. And all joking aside there, I really enjoyed that element of this track, though. And then the tempo picks up a little bit, just some simple percussion, but it picks up the groove. And I like the way that it fills out, but not too much. This is a really well-constructed track, because a lot of their songs, they have a tendency to build into a frenzy. And so where you might expect it on a track like this, they pull back, and I think it's really well done. Nice little change of pace. Goodwill Hunting is your fifth track. This is definitely my favorite. Just a light beat, breezy groove, bit of funk on this thing. Obviously a movie reference here, and I like that about them lyrically. Just great storytelling, and lots of fun pop culture references as well. There's a fun reference to Billie Eilish on this record, amongst others as well. So certainly one of the things about this band that I find entertaining. Your sixth track, Haldren, it opens up. This is where I'm starting to get this Velvet Underground feel. This thing opens up like a jazzy version of Heroin. You get this simple riff, but then again, you get some of that saxophone play that's just absolutely marvelous. Builds into this jam, and then finally to a frenzy at the end. I really dig that track as well, back to back with Goodwill Hunting. Mark's Theme is your seventh song, just kind of this, I guess, called a little bit of an intro. It's just this jazzy sax piece. Piano comes in later on the track, but it's definitely one of the shorter songs, instrumental there. And then The Place Where He Inserted the Blade. I love the title of this song. It's so epic, and certainly a big Arcade Fire feel from that Suburbs record. But I love this song. I love the contemporary jazz feel balanced with classic pop. Marvelous run of tracks here. Goodwill Hunting, Haldren, and then as cool as Mark's Theme is, it's kind of like I said, it's kind of like a bridge track. So The Place Where He Inserted the Blade, marvelous, leads into Snow Globes, melancholy track that builds into a frenzy, and again, definitely kind of that simple Lou Reed style Velvet Underground track with a simple guitar. And then Basketball Shoes closes this thing out. Just an epic track that I'm pretty sure this band has been playing around with and working on for a while. But just given the nature of what's happened and what's going on, and we saw it with Midnight Oil this week too, and the potentially last album from them. Obviously, we're not sure how this band is going to move forward, so this could potentially be the last record with this lineup. And if that's the case, Isaac Wood, again, thank you, and dude, bless your heart. And I hope I hope you find happiness and contentment no matter how long it takes. We're obviously going to vinyl please this. I think a lot of you have vinyl pleased it already. This is a great effort and worth the double vinyl package. It's a beautiful double vinyl package if you haven't checked it out. So hope you find this review helpful. Hope you enjoy this review as well. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel. Do all the things to help me blow this project up in 2022. And stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We'll see you next time on the Beat Sessions.